Got a little Governor of College Football snapback on check. Got a little Merlin theme polo on check. Welcome to another marvelous episode. On today's docket, we're going to get into the news segment. We're going to talk more about the House versus NCAA settlement. Got some new developments going on with that. Also on today's docket, we are going to go around the nation and see what players and or coaches are going on a revenge tour in 2025. Week 4 is a week that I'm circling on my calendar as a revenge tour week. Also on today's docket, Governor Reacts. We're going to react into Lindy Sports, their 12-team playoff field. Note, this was done before the straight seeding was announced, so it's still based on the old format, last year's format of the college football playoff. I think it's important that we note that. Also on Governor's Rewind, we're going to take a look back at the GOAT college football season, which will forever be 2007 in my book. Governor College Football, hashtag go CFB. CFB Nation, your only college football destination. Let's get it. Governor of College Football, we're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's CJ
defensive minds. They have to be better on that side of it. It is Wednesday, July 11th, and we're going to get into the news. Let's talk about some things that's going on in the world, wonderful world of college football, as we like to say. Greg Byrne and the future of the college football. Kind of the College Sports Commission. What is the real play here? Alabama AD Greg Byrne is calling for structure, highlighting the value of College Sports Commission and keeping schools aligned through chaos. His comments point to something deeper, a future where schools control more of the will and where P4 operates more like a league, less than a loose confederation. And we'll talk about what that means for the next 5 to 10 years of the sport. Is the foundation of a breakaway league or the start of actual guardrails being built before it collapses? I think these are amazing questions, and like I said, a lot of this is just stemming from the House versus the NCAA settlement that happened almost a week ago. I think it was last Friday where Judge Claudia Wilkin finally approved the settlement. But looking at where we are as far as the sport is concerned, I think he's asking legitimate questions. I think college football does need some sort of commission. I've been consistent on this. This is something we talked about quite often, that yes, college football needs some type of commission, but not only just for college football. Yes, I'm always going to be college football first guy, but college basketball needs it as well. College basketball transfer portal is probably worse than college football transfer. Not probably, it is worse than the college football transfer portal. And there's a joke that, me and Jalen always talk about how, like, you can search a guy on Google, let's say you're trying to do something within the college football or college basketball realm. You search for that player, you may see that player in 3 or 4 jerseys. It's just where the sport is. So yes, there needs to be some type of commission outside of the NCAA that kind of helps with this thing. So I think that Alabama's, AD is right. He's right on track with this one. So also in other news, Tennessee quarterback mystery. Is it going to be Aguilar, Merklinger, or MacIntyre? The Vols opened up against Syracuse, and all eyes are on Josh Heupel's quarterback decision. We knew that Nico Merklinger heading into the season was supposed to be the guy. For some strange reason, that just didn't happen. It didn't happen. Why it didn't happen? There's a myriad of reasons that people suspect that it didn't happen. They said, at times Nico was very difficult to deal with, that he threatened to hold out during the college football playoff when Tennessee made the playoff, and that's why Tennessee played so poorly in Columbus. I don't know if it was Tennessee played poorly. Maybe they didn't play up to their full expectation, but Ohio State just played amazing. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Ohio State played lights out. But, who's going to be the starting quarterback? We saw Tennessee, and I've talked about Tennessee a great deal, but I'm interested to see how this thing shape out. For my money, I think it'll be Joey Aguilar. I just don't think if they felt like they had their guy on the roster, I think Merklinger would have been a guy, and they wouldn't have made the move to go get Joey Aguilar. Joey Aguilar has a lot of playing experience. I know his 2024 season wasn't good. Hell, the 2024 season wasn't good for App State at all. App State was one of those teams that I thought that could have made a run for that playoff spot as it pertained to the G5. They just didn't make it just didn't happen. And I know, we could talk about, Hurricane Helena and what happened to the city surrounding Boone, and some of it did hit Boone as well. So, maybe that was the reason that they didn't play as good as, we had anticipated, when talking about App State last year. But Joey Aguilar, in 2023, he really did. He had, 33 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Has he done it at the P4 level? Not yet, but he does have a lot of experience. How soon can he learn, this Joey Hazel system? A lot of that is just really going to, how much, how quickly can he learn the playbook? Because it's not like he was given the spring to learn the playbook. Because, in the spring, he was learning Tino Sinceri at UCLA playbook. So it'll be interesting how quickly he can get this down. And I'm just hoping, like I always hope with all quarterback controversies or competitions, whatever C word you guys prefer to use, I hope that with this one that a decision is made quickly. And I hope that with all of the ones that a decision is made quickly and that we figure out who's going to be the guy at quarterback. In other news, ESPN Week 1 College Game Day, Texas versus Ohio State. We know that the first, College Game Day on the road, I know the show started in like 87. First game they hit the road started in South Bend, but the first headgear choice wasn't, Columbus. And I think it's fitting that, maybe he'll choose, the Buckeye headgear for the final time like he did the first time. That would be Lee Corso's last episode. It's curtain call. I would imagine him being a special guest picker because, College Game Day has done that for years where they had the special guest picker. So I'm hoping that's not the last time, we see him. But him in a recurring role, always on the show, this will be his final time. And, of course, I think it was fitting that they pick this game. The fact that they'll be live at this game. And what makes it even more special when you think about it is they'll be at this game. This is a big noon kickoff game. So we'll see him pick that. And I'll be on the road. I don't know which game I'll be at for the early game. I know I'll be, in Clemson for Clemson LSU game that night. But during the day, I'm not sure where I'm going to be at just yet. I know that's something that me, Moon, D-Now are still trying to figure out as we iron out our tour. But I'm going to be watching it. I don't care where I'm at. I'm going to be watching it. And you are not a human being if, once he picks that headgear that one final time, if you don't have tears in your eyes, I have to question your love for the sport. I know Kirk Herbstreit, who, over the last few years, we kind of seen, of course, him and Kirk Herbstreit have worked together so long. And you see Kirk Herbstreit, the respect that he has for him, the care that he has for him. He's always helping him, whether it's with a take or, whether it's, helping him get, up and down from his seat. Like, Kirk Herbstreit is going to be emotional that day. I'm sure, and Kirk Herbstreit, don't be afraid to allow those emotions flow. I'm going to be crying right with y'all. Like I said, College Game Day has always been a staple in my household on Saturdays. As a kid, my escapes were video games and college football. Those were always my escapes. I grew up during treacherous times. Like anybody who grew up in, the DMV area, during the crack epidemic, the type of times we grew up in. So you had to find your escapes. And a lot of times, my escape was always sports. It was always video games. And then College Game, they play a role in that. So, yes, I will be filled with tears as I'm watching Lee Corso one final time on the show. So it's kind of cool. And hopefully he picks the Buckeye. Not because I'm a Buckeye fan, but, just seeing him, finish it like he started. That'll be pretty cool. So something that's brewing in Texas Tech. I think a lot of people know it. We seen they were able to get active in the portal. Texas Tech defense was abysmal last year, and they spent a lot of money. They spent an awful lot of money. NIL money changes everything at Texas Tech. Joey McGuire said it plainly. Now it is time to win. Now I thought it was time to win a couple years ago, but now the excuses are eliminated. It's the same way I feel about Miami, same way I feel about Auburn, same way I felt about Iowa State last year. The roster is there. You've constructed a beautiful roster. You got a hell of a kid at quarterback in Barron Morton. Okay. We're out of excuses. Let's get it done. And I love the fact that he said it's time because I think he appropriately understands the pressure he's going to be under this year at Texas Tech because it's 100% his time. The Big 12 is for the taking. I know a lot of people just think it's Arizona State's conference to win. Yeah, they won it last year. That don't mean they're going to win it this year. I told you, TCU is going to be improved this year. Texas Tech is going to be improved this year. Iowa State is going to be right there in the thick of things. They were my post-spring favorite to win it. Now I'm starting to have a change of heart. I'm really high on Baylor. So, yes, it's going to be an opportunity. The Big 12 is 100% for the taking. There just needs to be a team to take it. And over recent memory, we have seen in the Big 12, there's always been some type of team that come out of nowhere. Is this the year that Kansas kind of comes out of nowhere? Like, we just don't know. So the Big 12 is for the taking, and I like Joey McGuire said, it's time. That's the type of pressure that needs to be established. That's the type of accountability that needs to be established with your staff. That's the type of accountability that needs to be established with your players. That's the type of accountability that needs to be established with the fan base. Like, hey, we get it. This roster is correct. Let's go make this thing happen. I see some other interesting news, and you guys know I'm critical. I'm very critical of Brian Kelly. There is no secret. It's not something that I've tried to hide or I ever hid. I do think he's a phenomenal coach. I think he recruits really well. His offenses have always been able to put up points. It's just, when are they going to take the next step? Because, we talk about roster construction a lot on this show. And if you look at LSU and how well their roster is constructed, this should be a college football playoff team. But I like that he kind of threw shade at Arch Manning, not throwing shade at Arch Manning. It's going to come off as throwing shade at Arch Manning, even though he was just saying, hey, his quarterback should be the guy. Kelly asked the question, everyone whispers, but no one wants to say on record, can Arch Manning actually beat out Nussmeier for an all-SEC nod? So it makes, we know those preseason awards are coming up, at every media day. I don't know if you guys know this, like the Big 12 sends out their packet earlier and you write in your choices, and then you type them in. But you type in your choices, it's a PDF, it's editable, and then you submit it. And it's not multiple choice. ACC is different. ACC is kind of like, I think they poll the coaches on what the coaches think, and then based on the selections that you already have, then you're able to select who should be on the All-American team. The Big 12 is different. You write down your order of teams. A lot of us, including myself, had Arizona State dead last year, and I do regret that. I had Arizona extremely high on my list. That list is something we will do live on Governor of College Football. The moment that the packet enters my inbox, I'll have to change some things around, because that episode we're going to work on the packet and we'll do it together, and we'll fill it out together. So that's pretty cool. So it'll be interesting to see who the SEC during SEC media days kind of votes as who's first team preseason all SEC. It'll be very interesting. Arch Manning will get a lot of talk. Lenore Sellers will get a lot of talk for that first team all SEC. So will Garrett Nussmeier. SEC DJ Lagway is another guy. For my money, it should be Garrett Nussmeier, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's Arch Manning, because Arch Manning potential is through the roof, and so is DJ Lagways and Lenore Sellers as well. So, like I said, I think it should be Garrett Nussmeier, but it'd be interesting. I thought it was interesting that Brian Kelly kind of spoke up for his quarterback, man. Kind of Terrell Owens-esque. Hey, that's my quarterback. I like saying it, but let's get into this next segment. I'm super excited for it. And we're going to react. It's magazine season. One of my favorite times of the year, other than when week 0 is here and we get to actually preview games and talk college football. But this is Lindy Sports 2025 college football playoff bracket. And I said it in the opening, and I'll say it again because I think it's important to note that this was created before the straight seeding announcement. So this current format is based on the old format that that we had last season. So you're going to see mine, and mine is going to be on the new format, straight seeding. But this is Lindy Sports playoff bracket. So let's get into it. Let's look into where they think, how you guys think their mindset was. Do you guys agree or disagree? Don't be afraid to comment down in the comment section. And I gotta find a way to start flying the Twitter comments into here so I can start seeing them. But alrighty, so under these sports, they predicted the 2025 playoff field, and we'll still be doing a lot of magazine talks for probably the next couple of weeks, because there's so much to talk about. Like, I haven't even gotten to any of Phil Steele predictions, and I love his predictions. So we're gonna break down the conference predictions. One's from Lindy Sports, one from Athlons, one from Phil Steele. So we got so much to talk about over these next few weeks, really before fall camp starts. Once fall camp starts, it's gonna be interesting. I will try to get out to. I know we'll be at Toledo. I'm doing a docuseries there, so I will be giving you guys a live Governor of College Football episode from there. Big 12 Media Days is coming up. I will be doing 2 episodes live from Big 12 Media Days, ACC Media Days, episodes live from there. Virginia Tech, I have access every year to go to their practices. So I'll probably do a live episode from there as well. So we're going to have a lot of like on the scene type of live episodes coming up. So this is Lindy Sports. Their top 4 seeds. These are first round buys, all conference champs based on the old format. I wish there was an updated format, but that was probably announced before the editor said go ahead and send a magazine and they got to ship it out and all that so I can get it. So they have Texas as the SEC champion. They have Penn State as the Big Ten champion. They have Clemson as the ACC champion. Arizona State is the Big 12 champion. Texas is the number 1 overall seed for their playoff bracket. You know, Texas was my number 1 overall seed in my, post-spring top 25. We'll see if that carries over. I just got to see the news and the intel that we're getting out of Austin before I make my final one. Clemson is definitely going to probably make a leap in mine. I think I had them at 2 or 3 in mine. But I think this is kind of chalk for most people. Texas won Penn State. I think a lot of people with Oregon going to want to see how well Dante Moore meshes. How long is Evan Stewart out? So I can see why, people who would have probably thought, hey, Oregon will probably be in that place, or Ohio State will probably be in that place. Michigan, it'll be interesting to see how fast they can get there. But Penn State, I think, is chalk. I think a lot of people believe that Penn State is the team to beat, heading into this season. And, I was mentioning, hey, we've run out of excuses. James Franklin is certainly one of those people that, we're absolutely running out of excuses and we got to make it happen. So this is chalk. This is interesting. This is based on an old format. Like I said, I would love to see what they would have had in a new format. So opening round matchups. We get some decent opening round matchups. We got number 5, Ohio State. They just missed the cut for the top 4 seeds in that first round bye. They're playing Boise State. So Boise State is their top G5 team heading into this season. Y'all saw I did the G5, playoff, who I thought were the teams that can compete for that last spot to make the college football playoff. I think I had Boise State 3rd on that list. I had UNLV 2nd because I really believe in what Dan Mullen's going to do. He holds his team accountable, and there's a swagger that he's going to bring to Las Vegas. Watch out for that team, and that team is returning some production as well. But Boise State, they're going to be right there in the thick of things. Liberty is my favorite, so, it ain't going to be no surprises when you see my bracket and Liberty is, in there. But Ohio State versus Boise State, opening round matchups. I believe they're still on campus matchups, so Boise State would have to go to Columbus. LSU is the 6th seed in this bracket, and I'm thinking Lindy Sports is thinking about LSU. How I'm thinking about LSU, like, the talent is there. You look at the roster construction, you take the jerseys away, you take the coach away, you drop this team from Baton Rouge to Athens. You're saying it's one of the best constructed rosters in all of college football. LSU, based on their roster, based on their, their staff, based on the players they have offensively and defensively, they should be in the college football playoff. But how confident how confident are we that they'll be able to get the job done? They got a hell of a kid at quarterback. I believe in Garrett. That's mine. I know the interceptions were a little high last year, but look at when a lot of those interceptions happen. So you look at that team, yes, they 100% should be in the playoff. And they have LSU playing SMU. They have SMU making a playoff. Interesting. While I think SMU will be really good, I don't think last year was a fluke at all. I mean, they went undefeated in the ACC in their inaugural season at the P4 level after being in, G5 a myriad of years. So it'll be interesting that they have them making it. And what's also interesting is something guys gonna find out next. They have Oregon at 7 versus number 10 Miami. Miami in the college football playoff, SMU in the college football playoff, Clemson in the college football playoff. Interesting. Really interesting. So they had the ACC in the same amount of teams as the Big Ten. Because Big Ten got what? Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon. ACC got Clemson, SMU, and Miami. Interesting, Lindy Sports. Interesting perspective. You guys know I'm not high on Miami. I'm just not, because last year was the year that they were supposed to do it and they couldn't do it. And we've seen them just kind of like lose games that they should not lose over the last 2 years. And you'll see them look like some weeks just look, wow, this team is really dominant. There's no way that they don't make the college football playoff. And then other weeks, like they won the game, but should they have won the game? And that's what, a stud at quarterback in Cam Ward. I'm not saying Carson Beck is a slouch by any stretch of the imagination. He's one of the best college, quarterbacks in all of college football, but he ain't Cam Ward. So I'm interested in seeing that, they lost some production at the wide receiver position as well. So I'm interested, see where they at. And then the 8-9 matchup, Alabama, Georgia. So that would be, I think, the second time that they play this season, because they also play during the regular season as well. That's a hell of a matchup right there. So let's look at what we got, the conference breakdown. They gave the Big 12 one playoff team. Interesting. They gave the Big 10 three playoff teams. That one playoff team for the Big 12 was Arizona State. The three playoff teams for the Big 10 was Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon. The three teams for the ACC was Clemson, SMU, and Miami. And then the four SEC teams were Texas, LSU, Alabama, Georgia. I'm sure if Greg Sankey seen this playoff, he would be happy. He'd be happy because, yes, the SEC has more playoff teams than any other conference, unlike last year where the Big Ten had more than any other conference. What was notable about Lindy Sports is the fact that they didn't have Notre Dame in there. They didn't. Notre Dame isn't in their bracket. They aren't. So it's kind of like, what do you think Notre Dame is? Like, I don't think last year was a fluke at all, but quarterback controversies, I think, probably scared Lindy Sports the way that it scared me. So here's some of the things that I agree with before we get into my bracket. Texas as the SEC champion, number one overall, team heading to the playoff. I can see that. I can see that 100%. So I'm in agreement with that. Penn State winning the Big Ten. I'm in agreement with that. Because we're out of excuses. We got the weapons in the backfield, got the weapons at wide receiver. This defense is here. Jim Knowles is there, as their defensive coordinator. Cool. I'm with it. Clemson winning the ACC, I'm with it. Clemson is damn good. Clemson is a damn good football team. And while I'm thinking about it, you guys make sure you go to YouTube. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, into the search bar at Governor of College Football. Make sure you guys subscribe. We're doing a lot of things over there. So not only do we do the live streams here, we do shorts, upload, so make sure you're not missing anything over there. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. We're live 4 days a week, and I'm gonna go ahead and just let the cat out of the bag. We will be doing a live stream on Friday this week as well. Just found out that I'm off on Friday. I'm off. We're doing a live stream, so we will be doing. It'll be a morning one. Won't be an evening one, but it will be a morning live stream, probably a 9 a.m. stream. Also live tonight for Overreaction Monday on a Wednesday with my guy Nino. So that's something else to look for over on CFB Nation. So make sure you guys check that out tonight. We're live around 8:30, I believe. So what I don't agree with Lindy Sports bracket is Arizona winning the Big 12. I just think the Big 12 is just that dynamic of a conference that it'll be hard to have a repeat winner in that conference. I'm not saying Killian Dillingham as a coach isn't good enough to do it. I'm not saying that Levitt as a quarterback isn't good enough to do it. I'm not saying Jordan Tyson as a wide receiver isn't good enough to do it. I'm just saying that I think that there isn't as much separation between Arizona State and the next team as everyone else thinks it is. There's a lot of good teams in the Big 12, and that gauntlet, I think, is tougher than people believe it is. So what you might end up having is cannibalism, but the thing I do agree with, I think the Big 12 may only get one team again this year because of the cannibalism. I do agree with that. Here's the things I 100% don't agree with. Miami in the playoff. No. I don't see Miami in the playoff. If ACC get 3 teams, give me Louisville in that spot. SMU in the playoff? No. ACC gets 2 teams. Give me Illinois instead. I'm that high on the Fighting Illini. Give me Brett Bielema. Give me Lou Altmaier. Give me Hudson Clement. Give me the Fighting Illini. Because what they did last year, in my opinion, wasn't a fluke. This is a damn good football team. We seen what they was able to do against Beamer and them boys in the bowl game. I'm telling you, watch out for Illinois this season. Watch out for Illinois. Boise State is a top G5. No. I think they'd be one of the best G5s, but my money is on Jamie Chadwell, and this is his last year coaching at the G5 ranks. My money is on the fact that Liberty has the easiest schedule in all of college football. The gauntlet that they have to go through in the Conference USA includes 2 new programs to the FBS level in Missouri State and Delaware. And they played another team who's in their second year, Kennesaw State. Sam Houston and Jacksonville are still new to the FBS level to speak of as well. So that's where I'm at. So that's Lindy Sports. I'm going to pull up mine. Where is it at? There you go. All right, so this is my bracket. So I'll get into kind of, what my thought process was for my bracket. And we'll talk more about it. So my bracket. Keep in mind, This is straight seeding. This is the top 4 seeds based on straight seeding. It's none more of that crap, if you win your conference championship, you get an automatic bye. I'm glad they got rid of that. I'm loving the straight seeding because it is what it is. You go through that SEC gauntlet, you're going through one hell of a gauntlet. And it ain't fair to some other conferences, but it is what it is. The SEC play the toughest schedules. Point blank, period. So if there's a team who got 2 losses, in the SEC, and there's a team in the Big 12 who got 1 loss, I'm going to favor that team that in the SEC. Even though I believe that the Big 12 will cannibalize themselves, it just is what it is. So my top 4 seeds are Clemson is my number 1 overall seed. Clemson's going to be damn good this year. Dabo, I'm telling you, if Dabo could do it, I think Dabo could do this year. I'm telling you. Dabo's tour run, if Clemson's able to win a national championship, it's going to be greater than that Ovechkin run in 2018, where if you were in a DMV, you will see Ovechkin out and about, and you see him with his girlfriend in the Stanley Cup. I'm telling you, Dabo's run is going to be epic. He's going to be on all shows with his feet kicked up, smoking a cigar, and drinking some cognac. I don't know. Dabo, you drink cognac, Dabo? Dabo probably got some Henny Pure White. I'm telling you, Dabo, the tour run Dabo about to go on is about to be legendary. I promise you it's about to be legendary. Clemson is my number 1 overall seed. Texas, 2. I think Texas will be the SEC champion, but, regardless, they'll be the number 2 seed. Penn State, Big Ten champion. I believe that 100%. And even though this is straight seeding, so typically with the old format, we would get either the conference champion from the G5 or the Big 12 that'd be at the floor spot. So this is really, truly just straight seeding now. Give me Florida as the number 4 seed. And those are the 4 teams that's getting a first round bye. I like Florida a lot. I wasn't high on Florida last year, but damn it, what a difference a year make. I like their defense. I think they got the best offensive line in all of college football. They got a kid named DJ Lagway who can really pass the ball and make plays. In the pocket, outside of the pocket, ball at running back. They got a two-headed monster, a two-headed tandem at running back. I like Florida a lot, bro. So give me Florida at that 4th spot as and truly at large bid. No matter if they win, they won't win the conference championship. I got Texas winning, but Florida will be the number 4 seed. So Clemson, Texas, Penn State, Florida receiving buys. Here are my opening round matchups, and some of these matchups you guys aren't going to want to see. Some of them I'm interested in seeing. So, at the 5th seed, it'll be Ohio State. I think Ohio State will figure out this quarterback situation. Am I a little nervous that Chip Kelly is gone? Yes. But Brian Hartline has been there for years. He will be able to figure it out. I'm a little worried about the quarterback situation, but I still love the defense. I think Matt Patricia will figure things out quickly. They're my 5th seed. They'll be playing the 12th seed, Liberty. Liberty will be in the college football playoff. I can almost guarantee that. And if they aren't in the college football playoff, something has went terribly wrong. Terribly wrong. I'm telling you. Unless there's another G5 team who went through a tougher gauntlet than them, they're both undefeated, and that team gets the bid because they played a tougher schedule, I would be okay with that. But I think Liberty is going to go undefeated. My 6-11 game is a game that I like a lot. At 6, I got Georgia. I do believe they'll be in the college football playoff. Kirby Smart and company just find ways to win game. I think we're kind of undervaluing Gunnar Stockton, to be honest with you, but Georgia's my 6 seed, and they're playing number 11, Illinois. I told y'all, I'm all in with Illinois this year. I do believe they'll make the college football playoff. Give me them 2. My 7 seed scared me a little bit. I'm not sure where I'm at with Oregon, but the faith that I don't have in Brian Kelly and sometimes Shane Franklin, I 1,000% have in Dan Lanning. I just know that Dan Lanning, since he's been a head coach, just find ways to win. Year in, year out, a lot of us thought it'd be drop off going from Bo Nix to Dylan Gabriel, 13-0 in the regular season and the conference championship. Year 1 in the Big Ten, they'll be there. They'll be there. It may not look the best, may not be that sexy, but they'll be able to play defense. Taj Lapointe and company has figured it out. Oregon is truly the SEC team out west. Even though they're in the Big Ten, I got them versus Louisville. That's a really good game. Louisville is in my college football playoff. I really think what they're building over there, the Brown brothers, I'm telling you, they got something special building in Louisville, and I really like their roster offensively. Hey, Isaac Brown gets a lot of the talk, but Duke Watson is just as talented. He got less carries, still averaged 9 yards per carry. So I'm telling you, when you play this team, look out for them. Truly look out for them. And then my Big 12, y'all know I've been on Iowa State this whole time, and I know the Cyclone fans going to want to punch me in the face right now. But I was filling out this bracket today. I continue to think about walking in Waco, man, and I think Baylor's going to be the team representing the Big 12. I really do believe that. And it'll be Baylor at 8 versus number 9 Alabama. And it's crazy saying it because how bad Baylor started off last year. What, Baylor started the season off 2-4? Looked terrible, and then they were able to win their last 6 regular season games, and they lost to LSU in a bowl game. But I just can't ignore what they have on that team. I truly just can't ignore. I can't. Sawyer Robertson is real deal. I love their wide receiver core. Love who they have at running back, and then I look at Aranda. I think it's his time. We get these surprise teams in the Big 12, and I've been trying to figure it out. And I'm like, it's Baylor. If they can ride that momentum that they had, coming out of last regular season, I think Baylor will be in the college football playoff. So I'll recap who Lindy Sports have, and then I'll recap who I had. Lindy Sports, theirs was still with the old format without the straight seeding. They had Texas, Penn State, Clemson, Arizona State getting a bye. Opening round, first round matchups was Ohio State versus Boise State, LSU versus SMU, Oregon versus Miami, Alabama versus Georgia. I think Lindy Sports bracket probably has better matchups than the bracket that I have. It's just the way the chips fall. But I think my bracket has better matchups, especially in that second round and third round. I had Clemson as the number 1 overall seed entering the playoffs, Texas SEC champion, Penn State Big Ten champion, and Florida not a champion, but they straight seed, and I think they'll be ranked as the 4th seed. And then opening round matchups, Liberty travels to Columbus to play Ohio State. Illinois travel to Athens to play Georgia. Louisville travels to Eugene to play Oregon. And Alabama travels to Waco to play Baylor. So this is my bracket. That is Lindy's bracket. So let me know what you guys think about that. I meant to have the website that I built this bracket with because I'm sure a lot of people would love to play around with something like this. You just pick how many teams you need in a bracket and it'll automatically build it for you. I didn't even have to create this or anything. I just added, one of my images and, the header, of course. But next episode, I'll make sure I have that website for you because it's kind of cool. You just build a bracket. And I'll be probably doing a lot of these throughout the year. So let's get into our next segment. Our next segment is Governor Rewind. And for Governor Rewind, we're going to go back to, in my opinion, the GOAT season of college football. We're going to go back to that storied 2007 college football season. I think with this Governor Rewind series, I kind of want to explain how I fell in love with college football. Growing up, where I grew up at, being a huge lover of sports. I'm in one of those families, we all just talk trash about sports. It was always barbershop talk about sports. I just grew up in one of those neighborhoods, one of those families, you know what I'm saying? My Uncle Foots is a huge Raiders fan, so is my Uncle Lionel. My pops is the biggest Dallas Cowboy fan I know. I'm a Buffalo Bill fan, but there was just something special about college football that always stood out to me. But that 2007 year, I don't think it's been matched. And I thought that the 2024 regular season was amazing. Like, we definitely had the upsets. Not quite as many upsets as we had with this season right here, this 2007 season. But let's go ahead. Let's, sit back, man. Grab you some popcorn. Grab you something to drink, man. And let's just reminisce, man. Let's think about this 2007 season. And let's focus on why it was called the GOAT season. So, in a sport built on tradition, 2007 was a season that blew it all to hell. This wasn't just a chaotic year. It was an all-out rebellion. Upsets came like hurricanes. Rankings meant nothing. And the best team in the country lost twice and still won the Natty. Today on Governor's Rewind, we will roll back the tape and to the year of block kicks, backup quarterbacks, triple overtimes, and the kind of college football insanity we may never see again. Like I said, 2024 was a really good season. It will definitely be probably in my top 5 GOAT seasons. I would have to say the 2024 season, what the regular season was. But I'm telling you, another really good season was 2022 season, even though a lot of it was predictable. It was just really I think about, Tennessee beating Alabama. There were some really fun games that year too. But this 2007 year was the GOAT. So Act 1, the season began with a shockwave. Appalachian State 34, upset in the big house, number 5 Michigan. Then they won by 2 points, 34-32. The Mountaineers weren't just a plucky FCS team. They became the symbol of the 2007 chaos. A blocked field goal in the big house stunned the Wolverine crowd in a moment that will forever change how we view underdogs. Quote of the year, we just paid them to come beat us. That's exactly what happened. Like, you don't expect nothing like this. You know how it is. You see these non-con games. The teams are just played to come there and take a beating. That's essentially what they paid for. They're not supposed to come there and win. That's what's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to be able to show out, get some reps, first game of the season. Your starters go out there, kill it. You get some quality reps for your backups, right? Really see how that pipeline that you've been trying to build. And to start the season off like that, I remember just like being in awe. I was at school around this time, and just like, that's all everybody was talking about. Like, yo, you see Appalachian State upset Michigan? Until this day, I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. And that was, what, 18 years ago? I still can't believe it. So, yeah, quote of the year. We just paid them to come beat us, which is crazy. Act number 2. The number 2 team was cursed, and number 1 was a safe Eva. Let's talk numbers, and strictly numbers. 62 upsets of ranked teams during this storied 2007 year. 62 upsets of ranked teams. It's incredible. 29 top 10 teams lost. This is one season. So when you hear people talk about this story 2007 and whether you weren't old enough to remember or you weren't quite into college football during the time, if you could just go back, there's people who've done great videos on this season, but 62 upsets of ranked teams is crazy. Because think about it, we truly only get like, these teams play 12 games, even though we do get 14 weeks of madness, 15 weeks if you include Army-Navy week, but 62 upsets of ranked teams is incredible. 29 top 10 teams lost. The number 1 team lost 4 times. One season. 62 upsets of ranked teams, 29 top 10 teams lost. One team lost. The first ranked team lost 4 times. And the number 2 team lost 7 times in a final 9 weeks. The number 2 team lost 7 times in the final 9 weeks. This is why 2007 is the GOAT season. If you like chaos and you try to figure out why a lot of us who, talk about this sport or people who are fans of this sport, this season probably sold a lot of us. 3 different weeks we saw both number 1 and number 2 lose. Do you guys understand how incredible that is? Modern day, we don't get that a lot. But 3 weeks saw both number 1 and number 2 lose. The year that was the GOAT season, 2007, we're talking back-to-back-to-back weekends of chaos. Each time a team got to number 2, it was like wearing a target made of glass. From South Florida to Boston College, Oregon to Kansas, every team that flirted with the number 2 spot got thrown in the wood chipper. Act 3, LSU lost twice and still got in. Week 7, LSU lost to Kentucky in triple overtime. Week 13, lost again to Arkansas. In triple overtime. This team, both of their losses came in triple overtime, bro. This season is so chaotic. It's so chaotic, and that's why it reigns supreme for so many of us. Week 7, lost to Kentucky in triple overtime. Week 13, lost again to Arkansas, and again in triple overtime. Final score versus Arkansas, 50-48. Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis. If you played NCAA 08, yes, it came out in 2007, and you used Arkansas, you had Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, and Peyton Hillis. That year, I was using nothing but West Virginia. Me personally, I used West Virginia for like 3 years straight with Pat White, Steve Slayton, Noel Devine. Like that, their team was just loaded. But Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis all made the NFL. Goddamn, Peyton Hillis was on the cover of Madden 12, was it? All of them on the same team. And against LSU, they rushed for 385 yards, bro. This was in Baton Rouge, bro. 2007 is the GOAT season. Nobody can argue that. I promise you nobody can argue that. And yet, Les Miles still got an invite to the big stage. BCS National Championship. LSU 38, Ohio State 24, and the wildest twist of all, the only 2-loss team to ever win the national championship during the BCS era. Act 4, upsets every week. Let's run it down. Week 1, Appalachian State stuns Michigan. We talked about that earlier. Block field goal if you watch the game and you're a Michigan fan, you're like, what the hell just happened? Like, what did I just watch? It's crazy. And then the game we got on the screen, man, that's Juice Williams and them boys upsetting Ohio State. Week 5. 8 top 25 teams fall. Number 3, Oklahoma goes down to Colorado. Week 6, Stanford will back up to Vita Pritchard, beats number 2 USC as 41-point underdogs. This is crazy. Week 7, Kentucky beats number... This is crazy, man. This is crazy. LSU, Cal, then ranked number 2, also loses. Week 8, Rutgers knock off number 2 South Florida on a Thursday night. This season is goated. Week 11, Illinois upset number 1 Ohio State. That's the game we watching on the screen right now. Week 12, Arizona upends number 2 Oregon after Dennis Dixon's injury. Week 13, Arkansas defeats number 1 LSU, again in triple overtime. Week 14, number 1 Missouri gets rocked by Oklahoma. Number 2 West Virginia collapses the pit. This is crazy. This is madness. And this is why we call this season the GOAT season. This is 100% why we call this the GOAT season. That's 2 straight weeks, but both number 1 and number 2 loss. Imagine that in the playoff era, the committee would be in absolute shambles. West Virginia had gotten the golden path to the BCS title game and lost to a 4-7 Pitt team, which is crazy. That is crazy. And I told you West Virginia was the team I used when I played it. Oregon was number 2 until Dennis Dixon went down and they got spiraled. Kansas and Missouri were both ranked in the top 2 before the Big 12 title game. And lurking in the shadows all season, Georgia, who never even played an SEC title game but finished number 2 in the final AP poll after the beatdown of a lifetime versus Hawaii. Hawaii was undefeated, by the way. Act 4, the chaos playoff we never got. Just imagine if we go back to 2007, this was still the BCS era of college football. And imagine how difficult it was for the computers to compute all of this madness. We said it was 62 ranked teams got beat that year. That's crazy. I think, 29 times top 10 team lost. But imagine if we had got a college football playoff in 2007. I don't think we'd have been able to handle that. Truly, like after as crazy as that season was, what we would have been able to truly handle a college football playoff during that time, right? So if we look at kind of like the straight seeding ordeal that we have now, let's take a look at what that bracket would have looked like in 2007. So we'd have probably had LSU, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Georgia, USC, Virginia Tech, Kansas, Missouri, West Virginia, Florida, Arizona State, and Hawaii. That'd have been one hell of a bracket if we had the college football playoff back then. And tell me you wouldn't want to watch that college football playoff. If you were alive at that time, or you could have been alive and not just weren't watching college football at the time, or just weren't old enough to really be into it. But if you could think about this season and think about the playoff that we could have got, bruh, it would have been incredible. Promise you, it would have been incredible. And I promise you, I'd have probably watched it on repeat. This season is crazy. And that's why when you hear a lot of people who truly care about the sport, and they're always arguing like, yo, protect the regular season at all costs, a lot of them in the back of their mind, whether they want to admit it or not, they're thinking about this 2007 season. And that's why we want the regular season to be protected at all costs. We don't want that pursuit of perfection that is the regular season. We don't want that to go down the drain. We don't want to become the MLB where you can lose, 70 some odd games and you still make the postseason, or the NBA where you can lose 38 or 40 some odd games and make the playoff, or NFL, you can lose almost 45% of your game and you make the playoff. We want this thing protected. We want that, hey, you better win 85% of your games if you want to make the playoff. You better. And in some cases, you want to make sure you win 90 or 100 of them things, right? This is why we love college football. And this is why the 2007 season will always be the GOAT season for many of us. 2007 wasn't just unpredictable. It was beautifully broken. It reminded us that no sport was more allergic to logic than college football, where legends rise, dreams burn, and every Saturday carries the weight of the fate. Let the NFL have their parity. Let the NBA have their super teams. We'll take the block kicks in the big house, triple overtimes, and backup quarterbacks beating blue bloods in front of 90,000. 2007 was absolutely the wildest college football season ever. And if I had like a time machine and I could go back and watch it all over again, I promise you I would. I'm telling you. I absolutely would, man. So if you old enough to remember this 2007 season, and if this, this season really shapes you and your fandom of this sport, man, please say something in the comment section. I would love to hear. And that's for anybody. How did you fall in love with college football? That's what I like to ask everybody. Like, there's two things I've kind of always loved in my life. And this is out. These are tangible things. This is outside my family. Of course, I love my family, but hip hop has always been one of them. And in the movie Brown Sugar, you'll hear Sanaa Lathan asking, "Yo, how did you fall in love with hip hop?" And and as being a reporter, you hear stories of how you fall in love with hip hop. Well, I've always loved rap music, but I fell in love with hip hop in 1999 when my dad gave me a dissertation on hip hop. He made me watch all of these old videos, made me learn about the Rakims, about the KRS-One, and his company BDP. Run DMC made us learn about all of these rappers. And so when I think about how I fell in love with college football, of course it started in the 90s with watching the Desmond Howards, with watching Peter Warricks, watching Tommy Frazier. Tommy Frazier just don't get enough love. He just really don't. So if you don't think that on one of these Governor Rewinds, we're not going to talk about Nebraska. We will 100% talk about Nebraska, and from Tommy Frazier, Lauren Phillips, and, Eric Crouch. Like, these are, this is how I fell in love with college football. But the season that when I really think about, I'm a college footballer for life, it was this 2007 season for sure. So we're going to take an ad break, man. Make sure y'all don't go nowhere. Make sure, while we taking this ad break, y'all stay here. But in the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to the Governor of College Football or at the CFB Nation, man, y'all go do that right now. Here's a word from our sponsors. Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. BetUS. Get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the offseason, even though we don't celebrate that. CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7. But there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. BetUS has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money.
I think we're always in college football kind of, we always talk about the pageantry, the tradition, and, the things that we like about college football. If you're a fan and you attend, a college football game week in, week out, and you've been a season ticket holder, like, you enjoy the process. You enjoy, preparing your food, going out to tailgate, getting drunk, and then watching your favorite team beat the hell out of your rival. And, I think beef is a major part of college football. Like, we even see, like, media analysts getting into it, and you'll see, like, Josh Pate and Danny Cannell exchange jabs. But it's friendly jabs, but it's friendly competition in the end. But college football is kind of built on beef. Kind of build on, like, when you're watching the Iron Bowl, you know what the hell is about to happen. Like, it's these games, like, that means so much. Like, when you're watching Army Navy week 15, like, what you're getting. You know that the presentation is going to be outstanding. That the preparing of the game all day is like it's this beautiful sight. But in the core, those two teams, while they both do the same thing, they protect our beautiful nation, but also on that gridiron, they hate each other, bro. Like, college football was truly built on beef, built on hate. And while there's respect there, at the same time, you just want to kick the crap out of, whoever your op is. It is what it is. So for this Around the Nation segment, we're going to go take a look at the 2025 Revenge Tour. What coaches or players are looking for revenge at 2025? So as I'm coming up with the segments for each show, sometimes it depends on how it is. Like last week, I had a bunch of time over the weekend. I was able to get off at reasonable time, so I was able to lay out my show for the week. That's why the thumbnails was done, the lives were up, all of my, script pretty much set up, the doc that I use, each show. And then some weeks I like to do it day by day. This has been a week where let me see the news for the day. Let me see how I'm feeling. And let's kind of figure out, what I want to share, as it pertains to college football. So this one, the revenge tour, I think this is something you all going to like. So let's talk about what players and or coaches are looking for revenge. They left, they leveled up, and now they're coming back for blood. This isn't just college football. It's personal. Across the country, storylines are boiling, transfer quarterbacks circling their calendars, rivalries turn vendettas, coaches on the edge. And when we think about a week for you to circle for Revenge Week, it is September 20th. Week 4 of the college football season on September 20th. There are some revenge games that we're going to talk about today, but I promise you, they're going to be really good games. So the first one I want to talk about as we get into this revenge tour segment, Billy Edwards versus Maryland and head coach Mike Locksley. This was going to be a good one. I thought Billy Edwards did good as a starting quarterback for Maryland last year. I actually took a liking to Billy Edwards when I went to Maryland's 2023 spring game. And of course, Talia, Tua's younger brother, he was there, and I remember he was trying to actually get another year. I think he was going to enter the portal if he did get another year. But he was there, but, that's why I like going to practices and going to spring games, because you really get to see who's next. And Billy Edwards absolutely lit it up. And I remember coming back telling the fellas, like, yo, this Billy Edwards kid is pretty good, cool at Maryland. I think he's going to be pretty good. And, last season, while Maryland supremely underwhelmed, I didn't think Billy Edwards played that bad. But now he's in Wisconsin. He's with Luke Fickell. Wisconsin definitely got one of the toughest schedules in all of college football. And while, I think they had the number 6 toughest schedule. Maybe they had the top 5 toughest schedule in college football. But Billy Edwards, whether he admitted or not, one of them games he got circled on his schedule is this game, week 4 versus Maryland. 100% got that circle. So, yes, the game that day I'm going to be paying attention most to is a revenge game we talk about later, and I won't spoil it for now. But, Billy Edwards versus Maryland, I 100% want to see that. I believe that game is in Madison. I was hoping it's in College Park. Even though we got great relationship with both universities, we have a really close relationship with Maryland. We're able to go there whenever we want to go there. And it's the same thing with Wisconsin. And Wisconsin is one of the schools, like, they're up there as far as CFB Nation's, network and relationship with a lot of these programs. Like, Wisconsin is up there. Wisconsin's in the top 5 with the relationship that we had with them, the type of content that they would allow us to make while we're up there. So we got to make it out to Madison this year, and I can't wait to the end of the third quarter and see jump around. This would be a game I would love to go to. I would absolutely love to go to. So I'll talk to Moon and D now about that and see if we can make that happen. But yeah, September 20th circle. I would love to. I really want to see that game. So number 2 on this kind of revenge tour is Jackson Arnold versus Oklahoma. This is crazy. This one is in Norman. And if you don't think that Jackson Arnold is going to come in there with like a Baker Mayfield type swag, and if you don't think he's going to come in there and put that Auburn Tigers flag in the middle of the OU, I think he will, bro. I promise you, I truly think he will. Like, this kid had an immense amount of talent. I remember we was talking about the 2023 quarterback class. We were looking at like, who are the guys? Of course, everybody talking about Arch. Everybody talking about, like, Nico Merklinger, who's a guy I was high on. Boomer and Nino, I believe, had Jackson Arnold as their top quarterback in that class. So you're looking at that, and then you see the season that happened last year at Oklahoma, man, because, year 1, he did get some reps, but it was Dylan Gabriel's team. Year 2, you think, okay, this is going to truly be his team, but damn, he loses Jeff Levy. Jeff Levy is down in Starksville now, so it's a new offense, and Seth Littrell's offense just didn't quite work in Norman. It just didn't. It's not a dig at Seth Littrell, just didn't work when a team who had a historic defense last year, and offensively you average team numbers and points, you're doing something extremely wrong. You were 1,000% doing something wrong. So if you think that he's not gonna come back there, and him and his family they gonna feel a way about how they was treated, they gonna come back to Norman locked and loaded and ready to go win this game. Now, of course, Oklahoma has retooled and reloaded as well. They was able to hit the portal. They got a kid at running back, a dynamic kid at running back who had a down year last year, but Jaden Ott, welcome back to top tier, top flight college football, because Jaden not gonna have a season this year in Oklahoma. We ain't got one hell of an offensive coordinator, a stud at offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle. I know a lot of people like to talk about the talent that, the team from Pullman, Washington played last year because a lot of their core schedule was against the Mountain West. Bro, they won, bro. They was able to win a lot of ball games. Ben Arbuckle has one hell of a system, and even the year before with Cam Ward at quarterback, they were still able to put up results. So, John Mateer at quarterback in Oklahoma, it's going to be a damn good game, but I'm telling you, we're going to see Jackson Arnold fired the hell up. I'm telling you, he's going to be locked and loaded. So when you think about Revenge Tour 2025, Jackson Arnold's about to go on a Revenge Tour. And don't be surprised if Auburn is on the cusp college football playoff team. I think Oklahoma could be on the cusp college football playoff team too. So 2 really good teams, 2 really good matchups. 2 coaches who I believe, whose seat is probably higher than they believe. I don't think a lot of people probably think that Hugh Freeze's seat is high because he's been able to recruit his butt off. And I believe that he should be given 5 years automatically because another 3-year coach at Auburn just wouldn't be a good look. But, yeah, the excuses, we continue to say, what teams have excuses that are, hey, we eliminated the excuses. It's time for production. Yes, we're talking about Brent Venables and Norman, and we're also talking about Hugh Freeze and Auburn. So that game, top billing game for me that day, and I don't care where I'm at, what game I'm at. People gonna be mad. I'm gonna be on the field. I'm gonna be looking at the game on the field. I'm gonna have a camera in one hand, recording, and I'm gonna be looking at my phone because I want to see what Jackson Arnold and company gonna do that day. Must see TV. Another revenge game coming up for this upcoming year. This one is between 2 coaches. I ain't saying they got beef, but if y'all think that week 1 of the college football season 2024, if y'all think that Miami coming into Gainesville, this wasn't in Coral Gables. This was in Gainesville. Coming into Gainesville, it was so many people down there last year. Paul Feinbaum was doing his show live from Gainesville. And, both of these teams were like, yo, hey, how this game's going to fare? Cam Ward just went there through for 385 yards, right? 41 points. Beat them dudes 41-17. If y'all think this game don't live rent-free in the back of Billy Napier's mind, you got something else coming. I'm telling you, this game, I think it's going to be inverted. Y'all heard me say it the other day. I think that Billy Napier is going to go to Coral Gables and he out for blood. I'm telling you, he don't like that. They came into his house. You know what I'm saying? They stayed in their hotels, kicked their feet up on their table. They put their robe on. Man, FOH. Y'all know what I really want to say. Like, bruh, 41-17 in your home? In the swamp? Come on, man. It's the swamp. Y'all gave up 41 points. Y'all lost like that at home. This game is living rent-free in Billy Napier's mind. He going to have this team ready. They going to go to Coral Gables. And yes, I know Coral Gables, they got the kid Carson Beck, who I think is a great quarterback. But I'm telling you, this is going to be an inverted game. DJ Lagway and them boys about to put up numbers. I'm telling you, Billy Napier is out for revenge. Let's recap our first 2 revenge teams, or coaches or players or whatever. Week 4, I told y'all circle that on your calendars. Billy Edwards going back to Maryland. That's a revenge game for sure. Week 4 again, Jackson Arnold going to Oklahoma, going to Norman. Yeah, that's a revenge game for sure. Billy Napier, Mario Cristobal. Yeah, 100% revenge game. It's personal. Billy Napier's coming for blood. I'm telling you. I'm high on Florida this year. You guys already saw I had them not only in my college football playoff, I have them as a team that's getting a bye in my college football playoff. That's how high I am on Florida. Another one. This is a sneaky one though, because I didn't know they was out for blood like that. But Ryan Williams, hey man, he said I'm getting mine back in blood, cuz. Hey, Ryan Williams in Alabama versus Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt. The nightmare scenario, bro. I'm telling you. What he said? Gonna crush these ants with a sledgehammer? You saw Diego wasn't going like that. He wasn't rocking like that. He ain't going for that. But yeah, Vanderbilt 40, Alabama 35. We all saw it last year. And that's why I said that 2024 regular season is supremely underrated. So my top 5 of regular seasons, like this upset is just like, yo, I just remember being where I was at. I was in my home. I wasn't even knowing it was a bye week for the tour. So I remember just watching that and seeing the madness. I'm like, yo, they just beat him. And I just saw how lit Diego Pavia was after the game, his family on the field. I mean, they grabbed the goalpost. Now the SEC want fine teams who rush the field and do all of that, man. Stop hating, man. Let these people be great, SEC. Don't be doing the hating stuff, man. So for Alabama, it wasn't just the L, it was a stain. So when we look at the 2024 season for Alabama, and for those who said, hey, they probably deserved, based on when we talked about most deserving, based on their strength of schedule, based on the teams they play, they deserve to be in a college football playoff. Then the rebuttal to that, they lost to Vandy and they lost to Oklahoma. They're just going to have to deal with it. And you kind of got to say, you're right? Even though they played a tough schedule, and I agree with a lot of people who say that, hey, when we're looking at the metrics and, what matters as we're evaluating a team, their strength of schedule should be up there. It should be numero uno. I agree with that. But when you lose to a team like this, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. And them fans carried them goalposts into Nashville, and they was partying all night, bro. I promise you they was partying all night. So, yeah, Ryan Williams won his back in blood. And this year, I think they got to go to Tuscaloosa. So, yeah. They want theirs back in blood. So, yeah, they out for revenge. I'm telling you, they're 100% out for revenge. My last, when I think about revenge game, I think Clemson wants some revenge versus South Carolina last year. That game last year, it really should have taken Clemson out of the college football playoff, right? Because, you knew that their only path to the college football playoff, based on how it was last year, was to get into the ACC championship game and win the ACC championship game. They control their destiny. Hey, you beat South Carolina, you're in. You control your destiny. Miami, once Clemson lost, hey, we beat Syracuse, we're in. Well, Mario Cristobal, Cam Ward and company lost. Fran Brown made sure he shouted out Dabo Swinney and said, hey, Dabo, you're welcome. Yeah, because you know what he did for Dabo. So y'all think Dabo forgot that game? That game's going to be circled. This is one of the best games in all of college football this upcoming season. That's why when we was talking about non-conference games yesterday, the top 10 non-conference game, I was surprised that Greg McIlroy had this at 8. This is a revenge game for sure. And Palmetto Bowl, if y'all think that we don't remember how Lenore Sellers took over at the end of the game and they was able to win that game, I'm telling you, this is going to be a damn good game. So this is our Around the Nation segment. Our 2025 revenge tour. I'm talking about Billy Edwards versus Maryland. I'm talking about Jackson Arnold going to Norman to play his old team in Oklahoma. I'm talking about Billy Napier and Mario Cristobal squaring off. And I'm also talking about, smashing these ants like a sledgehammer with Ryan Williams in Alabama versus Vandy. And I'm also talking about the Palmetto Bowl. It's been a fun episode, man. I continue to say, man, these shows go by so fast. I tell you, this is one of the fastest hours in all of college football. Shout out to everybody who's been showing love. It's been consistent, and I'm glad to see this. Our numbers have been extremely consistent. If you're watching this on YouTube, we're also on CFB Nation's Twitter. We're also on my Twitter. I love that to see the numbers are consistent. I'm just going to start putting out a lot more content for y'all. So if you're subscribed to the YouTube, be on the lookout for shorts. I'm about to go on a run. We about to be doing probably like 1 or 2 shorts a day, every day, to be getting those out. There'll be a lot more uploads. Mark your calendars. Typically Thursday is the last day of the week for our live stream schedule. So I am going live tomorrow at 4 p.m. Also, keep in mind, Friday morning, we're going to do a morning edition. I'll probably go live around 9 a.m. I'll keep everybody posted with that. Also live tonight over at CFB Nation with Overreaction Monday. Me and my dog Nino going get into it. Don't be surprised if my boy World of Moon, CFB Moon, is doing his World of College Football show today too. And he's been killing it over there. As I always like to say, there are no more victories in the sport that survive in advance. That's why college football has the greatest regular season. And until next time, I appreciate each and every one of you. You all take care. Governor of college football, we're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's CJ
Defensive
on the
minds. They have to be better on that side of the ball.